might have remembered what was happening a little bit earlier in the new Congress. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell ousting fellow Republicans Rick Scott and Mike Lee from the powerful Senate Commerce Committee. You remember the backstory, right? Scott challenging McConnell for the Senate GOP leader position. Lee nominated him with this impassioned address to his fellow senators. Scott has implied that their removal is retaliation. Niall Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill, joining me right now. So do you think it's payback or just the consequence of causing division in the party that was really a waste of time?
Oh, I think it's payback, Adrienne, and I think Mitch McConnell would be quite happy for it to be seen as payback. If you come at the king, you best not miss, as the saying goes, even if the king is someone of a more sleepy nature like Mitch McConnell. That was the first leadership challenge to him in 15 years atop the Senate Republican Conference. I think he wants to exact a price for that, disincentivize people from making that kind of move before. And so I think it was retribution, yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit more about it, because in politics, retribution follows. Initially, we heard former President Trump say that Nikki Haley, South Carolina's former governor and UN ambassador, follow her heart if she believes that she's supposed to call to run for president, right? But now he's taking aim not only at Nikki Haley, but Mike Pompeo, Glenn Youngkin. Let's listen.
It would depend. I would give you the same answer I gave in 2016 during the debate. It would have to depend on who the nominee was.
So what he's saying is he doesn't know that he would back another GOP candidate if he doesn't get the nomination. But is he venting? I mean, his demeanor has always been one of, you should be grateful for the help I've given you. He doesn't believe any of the people I've already named have been grateful. He doesn't believe Governor Ron DeSantis has been grateful. My question is, do voters care?
They don't necessarily care about these statements, but if these Trump statements became reality, then I think it would be obviously a massive story, and it would create a huge opportunity for a Democrat to win the ultimate general election very, very easily. The former president has obviously a good deal of backing within the Republican Party. If he were to refuse to back some other nominee, then that would clearly split the Republican or conservative vote in a very, very serious way. And of course, we're in a very closely divided nation already, Adrienne, where, you know, it's about 45% to each party and a small number of people in the middle. So if Trump actually followed through on that threat, it would have seismic implications.
Do you believe, do you agree with journalist and commentator Bill O'Reilly, who's told our Chris Cuomo that he believes that former President Trump has 35% of the GOP base in his back pocket? Would you say those numbers are accurate?
If you look at the polls, it certainly does seem around that proportion. There, as well as the never Trump people at the other end, there is an always Trump faction or strand among Republican voters. 35% is approximately the figure that shows up in polls for that. So that is 1/3 of the Republican vote that is for Mr. Trump, or that he can dissuade from voting for a GOP nominee if that person isn't him. As I say, in a narrow election, that would be game over if that actually happened.
Yeah, 35%, much more than a strand, a very big chunk. All right, thank you, Niall. Good to see you on Friday. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.